Sky Sports. Big Time Boxing!
There's going to be a ring, there's going to be a referee, there's going to be some judges, there's going to be Steve opposite me, so that's all what counts. I'm very confident, cool, calm and collected and ready to do business.
They tend to make the underdog for some reason, like the same when I fought McMillan, Hodgkinson, you know, but it's going to bring the best out of me, you know. I'm so determined to prove a lot of people wrong, and on that day I'm going to beat him.
The Prince of Hype, Naseem Hamed, the showman who adores the limelight and the adulation. The humble featherweight king, the people's champion, Steve Robinson. Hamed's performances so far have exploded with excitement. Robinson remains unaffected by fame, modest and gentle, except in the ring. He's built himself a formidable reputation, racking up 7 successful defenses and proving a durable world champion.
And it's stopped. No count would be administered. Steve Robinson is still the WBO featherweight champion.
Rivalry between Hamed and Robinson simmered through the hot summer, but Steve stayed cool.
I'm not really bothered about Naseem. He had this moment last week, you know. It's my night tonight.
Hamed's boastings have been backed by brilliance in the ring so far, an extraordinary talent at bantamweight and super bantam, but now he seeks a first world title, fighting in a higher weight division in front of a hostile crowd in the Dragon's Den.
He's a very experienced world champion. He's a very good world champion. I believe he's the best featherweight in the world, but I also believe in Naz. Bantamweight was an excellent bantamweight. Super bantamweight, he was exceptional, and I think if he takes it up into the featherweight division, he's going to be incredible.
I'm the man to take out Steve Robinson on the 30th, and you will see it live, exclusive on Sky.
This is the Cardiff Arms Park. On this famous ground, some of the finest sportsmen produced in Wales have excelled themselves. And tonight, an outstanding Welsh sportsman of the modern era, Steve Robinson, defends his WBO World Featherweight title for the 8th time against Prince Naseem Hamed. It's coming live and exclusive to Sky Sports. A very good evening to you from a very noisy Cardiff Arms Park. Tonight, we will find out at last whether the Prince Naseem Hamed has the substance to go with the hype, and whether truly he can deliver on his promise that he has a God-given right to a world title. No small boast. But in the other corner, an angry, proven world champion, Steve Robinson, and they really love him here in Cardiff. Here to share the excitement, Hugh Mackenzie and Barry McGuigan. We'll be hearing lots from the two gentlemen in just a moment or two, but this is the most wanted man in Wales at present. They've kept him hidden away just outside Newport this week, but the Welsh welcome has not persuaded local fight fans to change loyalties away from Robinson.
Robinson's got it at the moment, isn't he? Steve Robinson's under the eye of everybody in all the valleys.
Well, my money's on Robbo. There's my £40 there on Robbo tonight, because Naz is going down.
He's much too tall, much too big, much too strong. Naseem's going to go down within 4 rounds without a sweat.
He's an idol, isn't he? They worship him. They think he's brilliant, and I do and all.
This is the man in the eye of the storm. Amid tight security, Hamed. But as he left for the fight a couple of hours back, he was looking as cool and relaxed as he has been all week, surrounded by some of the Sheffield supporters and boxing friends from that city who've been with him all the way on this journey since he first started dreaming of world titles as an 11-year-old boy. Is this journey to have a happy ending tonight?
Who's the champ? The Prince.
We'll find out tonight, won't we? He's already surrounded by some of the trappings of wealth, as you can see, but he'll only feel he's truly arrived when he has his hands on a world title belt, and he comes to the Cardiff Arms Park tonight to get his belt. They say essentially he's still a young boy having fun, but tonight he's got to show that he's all grown up when it counts, to show that he can handle the pressure and make the big transition from being a whiz kid, dazzling challenger, able to outspeed, outthink and outpower quality men, to make that transition tonight to becoming a champion on away territory.
All right, tonight's world champ time. Go on, Naz.
Well, Naz, not long to go now. I've never seen a fighter, champion or challenger as relaxed as I have with you.
Well, you know, it's me through and through, Gary. I'm just so relaxed. It's just me all the time, because I know I'm going to be world champion.
Now, you've been holed up in a country retreat some 30 miles from here, partly because of the hostility of the crowd. That hasn't got you at all, has it?
Not at all. I mean, they can shout as loud as they want, and the day it's going to give me a better buzz. and he's going to get took out in style.
Are you still going with your prediction of 4 rounds? In the week, you were paying him credit and you have been a little bit more genial towards him, but when it comes to the fight, what's going to happen?
He's going to get stopped. He's going to get stopped or knocked out clean, believe me.
Well, he's been saying that for a while. Steve Robinson didn't need any directions to get here tonight. This career, which had such unpromising beginnings, a career in which it's all had to come the hard way, but it certainly brought Robinson great success, really beyond his wildest expectations. No secret that financially Robinson has not yet achieved what he feels he's worth or what he deserves. And that has definitely concentrated his mind, and he looks full of determination once more tonight. Robinson is a true sporting hero in South Wales, as Ian Darke has been finding out.
Like so many fighters, Steve Robinson wasn't exactly born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He grew up in one of the roughest, toughest areas of Cardiff, Ely, and success hasn't changed him a bit. He's still the same ordinary bloke and likes nothing better than to go home to visit Mum. Steve's mother is proud of him, but she has reservations about boxing and its dangers, even though it's the sport that's made him a local hero.
Wait till their noses starts getting flat and everything like that, they'll know it.
It's like any other sport, really.
I think it's...
But while Steve's mum is no great lover of boxing, the people of Ely are all in the Steve Robinson fan club. They know how hard he's had to battle from being a £50-a-week storeman in Debenhams to become champion of the world. And what they like most is he's never forgotten where he came from. Ely might be rough, but there's a camaraderie around the place.
Did you enjoy it? Well, to say Ely's, some parts is tough, I suppose, but, you know, yeah, it was pretty tough, especially for me, because I was from a one-parent family, like, you know, and, you know, I worked hard for it, like.
And in the pubs and clubs, they all think Naz will be beaten.
I hope he gets floored.
He will.
As for you, Naseem.
He will. Yeah, he will.
I'm telling you, Ely boys don't mess about. We just get on with the job and do it right.
I would say every person in Ely knows his name, and everybody in Ely is behind him for this fight.
Right from the early days as a 9-year-old at the Trelai Youth Centre, Robinson has been guided by veteran trainer Ronnie Rush.
He's always been there for me, you know, he talks to me like a brother, but at the same time, he toughens me up, like, you know, he gets aggression in me, like, you know, and just brings the best out of me.
He tells me that you were 3 stone 8 pound, I think it was, when he first knew you.
Yeah, I wasn't a big guy, you know, I was quite small for my age, really, and you know, but I was still fighting bigger boys, you know, half a stone heavy, you know. I always used to give weight away, you know, and because I was so small for my age, but you know, I've grown to a fair weight now.
What about at school? Because you were such a good boxer, were the other kids a bit frightened of you? I bet they didn't pick on you, did they?
Oh yeah, they had a bit of respect for me because you know, I had a lot of fights at that age, and you know, my picture was on the school wall, and you know, a lot of respect for me, you know, and I usually go back after every fight, and I always show off the trophies I win. So I always go back to my school, my junior school, my high school.
This is a real-life Rocky story. For this fight, he's even trained on his honeymoon, and he intends to make Naseem pay for it.
I know he's elusive and everything, and we've been working on this kind of style. He's unorthodox, but we're very confident we can take him out.
He's elusive, but the elusives get trapped. We trapped the fox many times.
Tell us what you think is going to happen.
He's going to win. He's going to win well. I think he'll probably stop him in the later rounds.
Even here in Robinson's Cardiff lair, he starts as underdog. Robbo himself couldn't resist putting £200 on himself. If he wins, it goes to charity, but the glory will go to Robinson. Be warned, the Cinderella man plans to go to the ball again tonight.
Here he is, live, getting ready to go. Not long till fight time now. Small worry for Robinson on the eve of the fight at the weigh-in. He went to the scales 4 ounces over the featherweight limit the first time, a little bit of light jogging, and he dipped under the required limit there. But it does raise the question that even Robinson admits his last 2 performances against Domingo Damigella and Pedro Faradas left something to be desired by his own high standards. So is he going to dig deep tonight and give us the Robinson of 2 and 3 years ago, or is time beginning to tell against Steve? Still a young man, only 26 years of age, but he's had some tough fights. Barry McGuigan's with us, and one of Robinson's tough fights was against Duke McKenzie. Now, Duke, first up on the weight scare.
Yeah, I am surprised, but when you look at Steve Robinson, you look at his actual physical physique, he's a very big featherweight. When you look at his physique, he's so tight. And him being 4 ounces over the weight yesterday is a psychological as from Naseem Mohammed, because it doesn't matter how many times you make the weight, after a certain period of time, your body just keeps telling you it's getting harder and harder and harder, it's getting tight to make the weight. And, you know, Steve's last 2 fights, he's looked so bad. You know, I have to say, he's just looked so bad. If he performs like that tonight, then Naseem Mohammed will beat him.
One word about the atmosphere, Barry. As a veteran of so many really passionate nights in various parts of the world, Hamid will not have faced anything like this tonight, will he?
Well, that's a very significant point. If you look at all of the fights that he's had previous to this, they've had them dancing and jiving down into the ring with the support of everybody, and they're all...
Fans love it.
The fans love it, and it intimidates his opponent, and there's no doubt about it that certainly with his last opponent, Perez, he was beaten. He was scared and frightened before Hamid actually entered the ring. I wouldn't say he was beaten, but he did look like, to me, like he's half swallowed the fight before. He was hit with what didn't look like particularly hard punches. On this occasion, he has got a very partisan, and there's a real antipathy and animosity towards him tonight, and they will scream at him and shout at him and roar, and there's no doubt that that will have an effect on him. But just going back to the weight issue that Duke mentioned, I think it isn't that significant. I think that Stevie Robinson is a natural featherweight. He's a genuine featherweight, and I think what's happened is a slight miscalculation, but there's no doubt he's deteriorated in his last 2 performances. He's showed a marked decadence in his performance.
Barry, what are the main tactical issues tonight for you?
Well, the main tactical issues are that Robinson will have to impose himself. What he does tremendously well is he forces his fighters to fight his fight. And you see short, stabbing punches, and he's a grind him down, knock him out style. And eventually, as I say, he just gets to you. Those little short, chopping punches don't look particularly hard, but over the period of a number of rounds, it just gets to you. And he's a big featherweight, as Duke said. And Hamid, on the other hand, is totally unpredictable, fast as lightning, tremendous balance and power, and can load up with any sort of... Just have a look at this here. Change position and load it up with all his power on that right foot and that right hook. Tremendously powerful and tremendously fast. His hand speed is quite incredible. And that's what beats these guys. You don't know where he's going to fight from, and he's so unpredictable. You don't know what angle he's going to fight you from. And from, as I say, from Robinson's point of view, he's got to stick to his tight little defence, got to impose himself on Hamid from the first round, be prepared to lose the early rounds, and then just slowly grind him down. And if he gets over the first 6 rounds, which is the likelihood that he won't, he's got to stay on top of this guy. And if it goes beyond 6 rounds, it's anybody's fight.
More from Barry McGuigan and through the evening. Hope very much you can settle in with us on Sky Sports and join this 15,000 crowd here at the Cardiff Arms Park. They've sold nearly every available seat, and they're making an awful lot of noise here, as you may well have heard by now. Nearly everybody wants Robinson to win in this arena. Nearly everybody wants to see the Prince go home with a lesson and his tail between his legs. But it could be the start of a new era. It's coming live on Sky Sports.
This great nation of ours is under threat. It's being eaten away from within. It could be anyone. Your bank manager. Your sweetheart. Even your brother. They look like us, but they don't chew like us. There's apple, peach, melon, and blueberry flavors, but there could be more. High Tide, thoroughly un-American gum.
Cut through with Foster's Ice for a clean, crisp taste.
tutti questi anni non mi è mai sembrato che sentisse la mancanza di una macchina.
No, infatti, finora.
It makes all the difference.
Back once again for the Renegade Master.
Do you love clubbing?
Then get Club Zone 2.
If you club it, you'll love it.
Club Zone 2.
Now on Telstar.
4. Harder. Hitting. Boxing. Get the sun. So remember,
get up.
To get your Tango doll, call this number now.
Things are worse than we thought. High Tie also comes in sugar-free. High Tie, thoroughly un-American gum.
If you've seen it, you probably saw it first on Sky One.
Makes sense to me.
Sky One has brought you The X-Files, The Simpsons, 90210, and many more. Now, from the home of first-run entertainment, comes Prime Time. Your first look at the world's most prestigious shows and locally produced dramas and specials, 8 to 10 p.m., 7 nights a week. And this autumn, a fantastic lineup of new programming is coming your way.
Energize.
See it first on Sky One Prime Time.
Big-time boxing live and exclusive tonight on Sky Sports from Cardiff. It's shaping up to be one of Britain's fights of the year in the shadow of the hulking but magnificent National Stadium, shrouded in darkness tonight. Exactly 2 years ago in there, Lennox Lewis fought Frank Bruno for the WBC World Heavyweights Championship. How much has changed in 2 short years for those two men. But here on the neighbouring home of Cardiff Rugby Club, the Arms Park tonight, it's Steve Robinson against Naseem Hamed for the WBO World Featherweight title. And it feels like the whole of Wales is out tonight to support Robinson. Are we about to enter a new era in boxing in this country? Or is Hamed about to be proved just another overhyped fraud? Our guests tonight, Duke McKenzie and Barry McGuigan. Duke, it's time for a prediction. How do you see the fight developing?
My money, or rather I'll take your money for and put it on Steve Robinson.
Why?
I just feel that he's a genuine featherweight, and he once he has imposed himself physically on Naseem Hamed and backs him up, he's just going to be too strong for the guy.
Barry?
Barry, again on this occasion, I'm afraid I'm going to have splinters in my butt. I'm going to sit on the fence because it's either Hamed in 4 or 5 rounds by clean knockout, or else it goes into the second half of the fight and it's anybody's fight.
How important do you feel it is for Robinson to get through the first 3, 4, 5 rounds?
I think Robinson, people are underestimating Robinson's ability to digest a punch, how tight his defence is, how much and how acutely aware of the fact that he has to be careful in the early rounds. He knows that, and I think a lot of the critics have sort of overlooked that. He knows he's got to be very tight. He's got to, the way he wins this fight is to apply steady pressure, be prepared to lose the first 3, 4 rounds, and then come on strong in the latter half of the fight. Hamed, on the other hand, has got to be as mobile as possible, try to prise him out of his shell and to nail him with a clean punch.
We saw Steve Robinson before the break, actually, in one of the bookmakers around Cardiff, having a little flutter on himself. The bookmakers tell us it's quite an extraordinary tale, really. Robinson has home advantage here. He's an established world champion. He's been through the hoops at this level, and he's a 3-to-1 outsider of 2. Naseem Hamed, 9-2 on favourite. Well, seeing is believing. Is it to be Hamed's night? Have the bookmakers got it right? Commentary will come from Glenn McCrory and Ian Dark after we hear from our Master of Ceremonies, Mike Goodall.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please be upstanding for the Anthem of Wales?
A real tide of Welsh patriotic fervour around the Cardiff Rugby Club. A really big British boxing night, this one, and those remarkable odds we saw. Robinson 3-1 against to win this fight in his home city. There are people standing up by the barriers, and there are people standing in the gangways too.
The promoter is insistent there will be no boxing until the gangways are clear and you have moved. So please move now.
Well, that's just part, really, of the kind of clamour we have to see this fight. People have got seats, they paid big money for the seats, but they want to stand up, and they're coming around by the ringside barriers, and of course that is obscuring the view of other people here. And there are people, I can tell you, there are flats surrounding this ground, and there are people hanging out of the windows and on the balconies getting free views. It really is the most extraordinary scene and the most remarkable atmosphere. Have you known anything quite like this in recent times, Glenn McCrory?
No, it's absolutely tremendous atmosphere here. Everybody is trying to get as close to the ring as they possibly can. I think most of the people are standing on their seats.
There will be no boxing until you move away from the barrier. There will be no boxing. Most adamant, there will be no boxing till you move away from the barrier.
Nobody, to be honest with you, is showing too much sign of moving. So we've got a bit of an impasse here between the promoter, Frank Warren, who is passing on his instructions to the MC, Mike Goodall, and the crowd, who just won't budge. So it's a bit silly, this. And there are some people, of course, I think what's happening here, there are people who've paid for the cheaper seats and have decided that's a bit too far away, and they're going to get a bit closer, Bakshi.
That's right, and everybody is very, very close, right over the barrier, and there's so many people to move back. I think it's very difficult for one. They said nobody else is moving, so I'm not moving, so you haven't got anybody moving.
Well, there's the scene around. There are people up in the flats. They've obviously got their televisions on. They're waving to us.
But until you move, it's not happening. You must move away from that barrier and out of it. It is not going to happen until you do.
Meanwhile, backstage, the two fighters will be going through their final preparations, working up a sweat while all this is going on. They'll have been given a time when they're expected to come out, and of course it will have its effect on the two fighters as well, Glenn.
Yes, it will. I see some of the Hamed camp already making their way into the ring.
So this is where we are. We're very privileged, right at ringside, almost within touching distance of the two fighters here. And, well, we just wait for the action to start here, really. The build-up here has been tremendous. People are not really talking about too much else around Cardiff this week. And I think nearly all of them, all these Welsh fans, they've come to see Naseem Hamed taught a lesson. They're fed up with all his big talk and all his cocky predictions, and they don't like the way that the fight's been sold, with Naseem being talked of having a coronation night here. They're all saying, don't write off Steve Robinson. And I guess, Glenn, that they might be right. I know you yourself have have a feeling that Steve Robinson might actually go ahead and shock Naseem Hamed here.
Yes, I do. I think it's a very difficult fight for Hamed. He's very confident. He's an explosive puncher. But in Robinson, we have a very good featherweight champion. He's very strong, immensely big for a featherweight. He's had some great fights. He came up to the northeast and beat John Davison, who I know is a very strong featherweight. So he's very good. He's also been in with guys like Colin McMillan, who are good boxers, and he's managed to nail them down. So he's been in with a lot of different styles of fighters, and he's beat them. So he's on a good run. He's in front of his home fans. He's got an awful lot to prove. It's a big opportunity for him. I think with all that consideration and taken in, he can be the one who comes out a winner in a tough fight.
Duke McKenzie and Glenn McCrory both thinking that Robinson can cause the upset. There is a big security operation here as well, I can tell you. Lots of police, as you've been seeing. The crowd is close to the capacity of 16,000. If there are spare seats, I can't see any from where I'm sitting at ringside. Of course, it's normally the Cardiff Rugby Club ground. They won today. I think Cardiff City Football Club beat Mansfield Town today. So is Steve Robinson going to make it a Cardiff hat-trick here tonight? I think Barry McGuigan, who's with us as always tonight, has got his own theories about why this crowd are up by the barriers. Barry?
Yes, and I think that they don't want to move because they want to intimidate Hamed. They want Hamed to come in. MC Mike Goodall has warned them several times the fight won't take place unless they move out and clear the gangways. But they want to intimidate Hamed. They want to scream at him. They want to touch him if they can and frighten the living daylights out of him. That's the whole idea.
Thank you. Well, I think some of the crowd have gone back into their seats, so maybe we can get on with the action. Let's go back to our MC, Mike Goodall.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome into the arena the challenger for tonight's title from Sheffield and Yemen, Prince Naseem Hamed.
And he really is going to get the most hostile of receptions. Always he's come into an adoring public before, but not tonight. That other showman, Chris Eubank, of course, always used to thrive on the hostility of foreign crowds or crowds that were opposed to him, didn't he?
He did, yes, and I'm not sure if Hamed feels the same way. He seemed to react very well to it. He seems still to be very, very confident. He says he'll thrive on this sort of atmosphere. That's yet to be seen.
Still only 21 years of age, unbeaten in 19 fights. The self-proclaimed, the outrageous Prince Naseem Hamed. Fazed by any of this, and it really is quite an intimidating atmosphere, I can tell you. It isn't showing yet.
No, he's got quite a way to go before he gets into the ring, but
there's one thing for certain. This young fella is going to realise that he is a long, long way from Sheffield. Just look at the security surround him, making sure that no silly spectators try it on. An unusual experience for him to have to enter the ring first of all. The great showman denied the dramatic late entrance. So far, he's looked one of the most exciting talents that Britain has produced in years. Tonight, he has to prove it, though, against a proud, strong, solid champion. Will this be his coronation, or the night that the crown doesn't quite seem to fit after all? You have to say it, you've got to give him credit, he's so relaxed. Now just listen to the reaction though when he gets in the ring and everybody gets sight of him. Mentor Brendan Ingle is there, even he's got leopard skin on tonight. Now what's happening here? Naseem is not going into the ring. What is he waiting for? He's letting all the camp followers through now. Here he comes. Well, he's not everybody's cup of tea, but it has to be said, so far he's matched all the antics and all the rash predictions with deeds in the ring.
That's right, and he's certainly done one thing, and that he's put people on seats. A fantastic crowd here.
They've all got seats, but they're all standing up, this crowd, who paid between £20 and £100 for their tickets. As if he's turned up for a few hours in the nightclub. Not his first world title fight, doesn't he? Well, I must say the reaction isn't as hostile as I thought it was going to be.
No, I think still a lot of people like this sort of thing. It's good showmanship. You're out there enjoying the whole occasion.
Well, as a world title challenger, ever gone through this routine before the biggest fight of his life.
One brought to mind is Hector Camacho, who always had a few antics like this as well.
Just look at that extraordinary aerial shot. That's how full, that's how crammed the Cardiff Rugby Club is tonight. The rain that was threatening a deluge earlier on has stopped. We are all set here. And when Naseem has finished strutting his stuff, Steve Robinson will be making his entrance.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the WBO featherweight champion of the world, Wales's Steve Robinson!
Eighth defence of the title for the local hero, Steve Robinson. The Welsh Dragon, well, will it be roaring tonight? Here he comes, Steve Robinson. Frankly, he doesn't really believe in all the hype. This is a no-nonsense pro who was brought up appearing and often losing on undercards in boxing outposts like Canby Island. And for those of you unfamiliar with the story, let me remind you, at 48 hours' notice, they gave him a world title chance. He seized it, and he's been champion for 2.5 years since. Leading Steve Robinson out, by the way, is a goat called Jenkins. who is a mascot of the Royal Regiment of Wales. He looks so intense. From the tough Ely district. Steve Robinson, well, they're full of showmanship here tonight. Steve Robinson has never had an entrance like this. This guy Gardner, famous fight figure in Wales, the manager leading him out. Ronnie Rush is in there too, the 60-year-old Trinidadian who's been with Steve Robinson ever since he was 9 years old. A man who's caused so many upsets along the way. Will he cause a sensation tonight? And just look, Steve Robinson wearing those cellophane wrappings on his feet. That's sensible, just to make sure the bottom of his boots don't get wet and he doesn't slip during the contest. Hamed did not have that protection. We're ready to go here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this contest is sanctioned and conducted under the rules of the World Boxing Organization, whose officials at ringside are the supervisor, Mr. John Montana of Arizona. The British Boxing Board of Control steward in charge is Lord Brooks of Tremorca, and the judges sat at ringside scoring the contest are Mr. Paul Thomas from Derby, Mr. Sam Bavette from New York, and Mr. Walter Cavaliere from Virginia, USA. The man in charge of the action tonight, the referee, who is officiating as referee in his 58th world title contest, Mr. Ismael Fernandez of Puerto Rico. The timekeeper at the bell, Mr. Ivor Campbell of Swansea. My lords, ladies and gentlemen, tonight from Cardiff Arms Park in the capital of Wales, Cardiff, live and exclusive on Europe's premier sports channel, Sky Sports and Big Time Boxing. It's Big Fight Time. Sponsored by Middle East Broadcasting Centre, MBC, and the Sun newspaper, and promoted by Frank Warren for Sports Network, who proudly present a contest of 12 3-minute rounds to decide the WBO Featherweight Championship of the World. Between introducing the boxers, firstly in the blue corner and wearing the leopard and fighting from Yemen and Sheffield, in his 19th professional contest, he is unbeaten and only twice he's gone the full distance, winning 17 contests by way of KO. He weighed in at yesterday's weigh-in at 8 stone 13 1/4 pounds. He comes to the ring tonight, the former undefeated bantamweight champion of Europe and the current WBC International Super Bantamweight champion, and the challenger for tonight's title, ladies and gentlemen, Prince Naseem. Across the ring, ladies and gentlemen, in the red corner, and coming from Cardiff, from his 31 professional contests, he has 21 wins, 11 by way of KO, 9 losses and 1 draw. He weighed in at 8 stone 13 3/4 pound, and tonight he is making the 8th defence of his title, which is the WBO Featherweight Champion of the World, from Cardiff, your very own Steve Robinson.
Fantastic reception for Robinson.
The referee for tonight's contest, Ismael Fernandez, will now give his instructions to both boxers.
Puerto Rican referee Wiso Fernandez handled the recent Steve Collins-Chris Eubank fight. He's been around a long time. He even was the referee when Muhammad Ali fought Jean-Pierre Koopmans. Now that was way back when. $16,000 people awaiting this big fight. Naseem Hamed. Will the Prince's big hitting take Robinson out? He's done it to other durable fighters before. Might he dance his elusive way to a points victory? Or will Robinson, the natural featherweight, wear him down? And as we wait for the first bell, it has begun to rain. Just another element. We hope that that does not get onto the ring canvas, which is quite well covered. It's not blowing in at the moment. Naseem Hamed was actually saying this week, despite all the hype, that he actually does, in a sneaking way, quite like Steve Robinson and what he's achieved, but he says he's going to beat him inside 4 rounds here. But remember, this is Naseem Hamed's first fight at featherweight, up from 8 stone 10 to 9 stone. Robinson, the defending champion, is the natural man at this weight. As the rain begins to fall and it's getting heavier. 12 rounds for the WBO Featherweight Championship. Key factors at this point fight what happens when Hamed starts to land cleanly. Will the punches bounce off Robinson, who's never been stopped? He's got a good tight defence, Robinson.
Just near Dagon, and just as Robinson left the ring, saying, keep it tight, keep it tight. So they're probably expecting a very fast start from Hamed.
And he gets through Robinson. Hamed waves him in. Hamed with this flashy style of his arms down by his hips, punches coming from crazy angles. Very hard to prepare for, because you never quite know what he's going to do next. I sometimes wonder if he does. We've never seen Hamed put under pressure or in a crisis before. Can Robinson achieve that? I think maybe his battle plan here might be to try and draw Hamed's sting and then wear him down later on. Let's see.
Yes, it certainly looks that way. He's keeping very, very tight. You see the guard well protecting him. You see the guard of Hamed very open.
Robinson is even saying that he might be made to look a bit silly for the first 3 rounds missing. But he says, I'll get the job done. Don't worry about that. Good right uppercut that from Hamed, and he followed it with a good left too. Robinson took that all right.
Yes, you've seen the style of Hamed, very loose. Punches come from all sorts of angles. And that uppercut, he brought it right from the floor, right up the middle. Good uppercut from Hamed.
Showboating already from Hamed. Trying to lure Robinson in, no doubt with the aim of counter-punching him, but Robinson's not buying that. He's fighting out of that high-held guard, just waiting his chances.
Yes, Robinson said he wasn't going to chase him. He was going to let Hamed come to him. He knows he's the champion. Hamed has got to take the title away from him.
Nothing very much has got through from either of them in this first round. There's a lot been hitting the gloves, the high-held gloves, particularly of the champion, Robinson. Coming up towards the end of a fascinating opening round. This is going to be cagey, nip and tuck, you feel.
The Frenchman is back.
When we launch a new car, we like to drop it. But because this new Polo is so solid, we thought we'd really drop it. It's spacious, aerodynamic, power steering, but above all, this is the safest Polo we've ever built, with optional twin airbags and ABS brakes. The new Volkswagen Polo.
Welcome back to the Cardiff Rugby Club. Live pictures here on Sky Sports as Steve Robinson defends his WBO Featherweight Championship for the 8th time against Prince Naseem Hamed. We're coming up to the second round, and 7 of Naseem's wins have come in this round. This is a round he tends to favour after a quiet opening round. Now let's see what he can make of Robinson's strategy here.
Yes, well, Robinson not doing a great deal at the moment. He's just keeping very tight. He's letting Hamed lead to him. He's obviously going to look to counter.
Hamed so far is finding it difficult to find a way through. Now Robinson will look to try and cut him off on those ropes and gets through with the right hand. One of the problems Robinson might have here is getting close enough to this slippery, quicksilver, elusive young man from Sheffield. To wear him down, he's got to be landing punches. Naseem is hitting the gloves with those jabs, I can tell you, because we're only about 5 or 6 feet away from him.
Yes, he's just flicking the gloves. What he's trying to do is get Robinson to lead, to counter back, and then he's trying to look for an opening, Hamed.
Just a slip. He just wrestled him over. There'll be no count for that. The Robinson camp were a bit concerned about Hamed wrestling men to the floor, and that was not counted as a knockdown, simply a slip. It's still raining here.
Hamed very confident, standing square on there. Defense right down.
He's talking to Robinson as well. Robinson says, OK, then. He's trying to goad him into coming out of that defensive shell, and he's managed to do that, I think. Now Hamed's trying to open up, and look at Robinson trying to close the range. Now Hamed's laughing. It's unbelievable.
Yes, an extraordinary fight plan from Hamed. He's really taking chances in there to try and get Robinson out of that crab-like defense.
Extraordinary arrogance and bravado from Hamed. I know this big Welsh crowd would love to have those smiles wiped off his face. He seemed to catch Robinson with one then. He just seemed to stagger a bit when that one landed. First sign of Robinson being made to struggle by Hamed's power, that.
There's Hamed looking to bring the punches up the middle and right round the sides, trying to find an opening in that high-held guard of Robinson.
What we have here as well, Glenn, of course, is psychological warfare, too, with Hamed standing in front of his man, talking to him, waving him in, doing little hip swivels. And Robinson has somehow, through all of this, just got to keep his cool and keep his game plan.
That's right, that's very important for Robinson. Again, not a great deal of scoring in that round. Hamed content to try and open Robinson up, trying to bring the guard down, but not a great deal happening. He just landed with a few better shots. Hamed inside, just a few up the middle. Robinson still hasn't been able to get to Hamed.
That's Naseem Hamed. He's won the European bantamweight title, but we're up to 9 stone here. There's that very good right uppercut. That just did rock Robinson for a moment or two.
Yes, you see, right in the middle, he really got a lot of power to that. He dipped right down underneath the guard of Robinson, then right up the middle.
Hamed, who in the build-up to this fight described Robinson as a 4th division fighter, and I could beat without training for it, he said. All part of the showmanship that comes with Naseem Hamed. Round 3, due to go 12, of course. Then giving the second round to Naseem after an even opening round. Robinson gets through with the right hand. Hamed just smiles, but he was caught significantly by it.
Yes, that was a better punch from Robinson. He's got to try and do that. He's got to keep his guard up. He hasn't got to be tempted into making mistakes by Hamed.
Again, the right uppercut. More than anything, Robinson just off balance that time, I feel. First World Championship fight this for Naseem Hamed. Robinson has been the this by miles, really. So, trying to chase a ghost at times.
Again, Hamed using that uppercut to good effect. He's looking for that punch. It's a good guard from Robinson. Hamed's trying to bring the punches up the middle.
He's dropping the shoulders almost like a footballer, a winger preparing to go past the fullback at times. Naseem out there. Well, it's dispiriting at the moment for Robinson because all he's doing is hitting the night air. He must have thrown about 30 punches in this round and none of them have landed. Oh, and Hamed catches him with a very hurtful looking right too. Hamed's the boss at the moment, but it's early.
Yes, Hamed showing good boxing skills, nice and relaxed. And he's just bamboozling Robinson at this moment. But again, Robinson has just got to keep to his game plan. Just try and apply steady pressure to Hamed. At this moment, he's not being able to get close enough to him.
You just saw what I was talking about with Hamed. He throws punches from angles other people wouldn't dream about. Now he threw a right uppercut which must have started somewhere down by his right ankle. A lot of Hamed's punches are hitting the gloves. Robinson unimpressive in his last couple of defences. He really is up for this one, or he should be, because this is a fight which could elevate him to a new level if he can get through it. Brilliant boxing in that round, and it carries on after the bell. There's no love lost in there. I think Robinson's a little bit angry at the moment. Hamed won the round.
Seated and not to stand on their chairs. Chairs will collapse.
Two of the greatest boxers of all time, now available on 2 exclusive videos. Bruno, his finest hour. 12 rounds of the historic clash between Frank Bruno and Oliver McCall. Frank's sensational victory together with exclusive interviews, yours to see again and again. Prince Naseem Hamed, natural-born thriller. See all his championship victories plus rare exclusive extra footage. This man's power must be seen to be believed. 2 great fighters, 2 great videos, available to buy now.
Welcome back live to Cardiff. And Naseem Hamed in that round, the last round, well, you couldn't have hit him with a bag of rice, could you?
No, he moved very well. But see, look, he's just leaning back, and then he's come back with good counters. Very elusive work there. But this is when Hamed said he was going to finish the fight inside 4 rounds.
Let's see if he's going to do an Ali and fulfill his prediction. I'm sure he'll remember that. Robinson, let me remind you again, has never been stopped yet in his career of 31 contests. That's a very good sharp left. His hand speed as well from Naseem Hamed. Robinson so far has just not been able to apply any pressure because he just can't really land a punch, not one to speak of anyway.
The problem Robinson has when he comes out of that crouch, he's getting caught with punches.
Hamed switching from orthodox to southpaw, changing the angle, thinking of new ones, trying to befuddle and bemuse Robinson. Burst into action like that and then away again. Robinson just beginning to look a little bit marked, maybe around the face. Maybe the first sign of just a little bit of puffiness around the face.
Robinson just changed his tactics a little bit. He's not chasing after Hamed so much. I feel he wants Hamed to come to him because Hamed is drawing him into mistakes.
Heads nearly clashed then. And every time Robinson does come out from behind that kind of peekaboo stance of his, Hamed is looking for fast counters, and he's got the speed to do it as well. It's all Hamed at the moment, and all you can really say for Robinson at this point in it is that maybe there'll be other chapters in the story later on for him. He did say he kind of knew it might be like this early on.
Yes, he said he thought he maybe made to look stupid in a few rounds, maybe falling around a little bit. He sensed it would take a few rounds to try to get to Hamed.
And now he's doing his own version of the Ali shuffle, Hamed. Robinson just can't close the range on him. He can't get there with those body shots that would slow Hamed down.
That's the problem. Robinson needs to get to Hamed to wear him down. And at this moment, Hamed isn't allowing him to get in range. You see good defensive work there from Hamed.
Robinson all the time keeping those gloves up around his face. Naseem does not win as he predicted in the 4th round.
Two of the greatest boxers of all time, now available on 2 exclusive videos. Bruno, his finest hour. 12 rounds of the historic clash between Frank Bruno and Oliver McCall. Frank's sensational victory together with exclusive interviews, yours to see again and again. Prince Naseem Hamed, natural-born thriller. See all his championship victories plus rare exclusive extra footage. This man's power must be seen to be believed. 2 great fighters, 2 great videos, available to buy now.
The 2 fighters are looking after 4 rounds, a third of the battle. Corner with Brendan Ingle, doing the talking. Ronnie Rush with Robinson.
Second round of 5.
5th round. And now Naseem starts off by saying to Robinson, come on, try hitting me to the body then. He's been talking all the time in there to the champion. Look at the difference in punch type totals. Hamed's landed 89. We reckon to Robinson's 31 so far. I'm struggling to think of the 31 that Robinson has landed. He's missed with many more. Many more. As if he's going in for some kind of limbo dancing competition at times out there, Hamed, but he really does have an extraordinary talent. There's no doubt about that.
He has tremendous reflexes. And he's going to need to have them when he carries a defense as low as that. But so far, his reflexes managed to keep him out of the way of Robinson. And when Robinson tries to punch, Hamed comes back with quick counters, and then he's gone.
Somehow, some way, Robinson needs to get in close and to try and bustle him up. Use what might be his superior strength. I think Robinson, oh, he's got him! Down goes Robinson for only the 2nd time in his career. Could this be the end of his reign? 5th round, Robinson down. He's been outboxed in there at the moment, and these are bad moments now for Steve Robinson. Bravely, he fights back with a body shot. But is Naseem Hamed on the verge of becoming champion here?
Yes, he's really turning on the style now.
That time he just fell over. He just fell over that time, Robinson. No knockdown, but he's marked up and swollen. His eyes look to be closing a bit.
Yes,
he's demoralised too.
He's definitely in trouble there. He doesn't know what he's got to do to get out of the way of punches.
Hamed is beginning to take him apart. This has been a mightily impressive display, an arrogant display. Cocky, you may not like it, but you do have to admire what this young man possesses in the way of boxing ability. He's driving the punches home, he's finding the angles now, and he's beginning to get through. Robinson's guard is beginning to drop. Gaps are beginning to appear, and again, Naseem tries to wrestle it. This is a bad round for Robinson, and the end couldn't come quick enough.
Yes, that was a tremendous round for Hamed. He did everything that he had to do. A really good round.
Right, got you a good shot. Now that's not the end of the world. Listen to me.
Yeah.
You're packing up. You're packing up. You're rocking.
Right.
Huh? You've got to start unloading shots when you get near. Take your time.
He has knocked down some beautiful punches, and he just got him with a right uppercut up the guard.
Keep your head clear.
Really very, very confident. But look, the punches come from all sorts of angles, bringing them round the side, one right through the middle there, and then lifts that one up. Right hand, right up the middle. And down he goes.
But how do you go about preparing and fighting a guy like this?
Tremendously difficult. What do? Every time Robinson tries to attack, he's out of the way of Hamed, and Robinson's walking on the punches. Robinson tries to bring him to him, and Hamed's all over him.
Round 6. And Robinson here, well, he's probably lost every round bar the first. And Hamed here is going for the finish, I think. He's getting through with these punches now. They're not hitting the gloves of Robinson anymore. They're being driven through. Now he switches stance again.
You see Robinson's face very swollen around the eyes. The nose looks very painful.
Hamed complained about a low blow from Robinson there. Robinson, I think, will have been glad to hit something. The only thing I can say really here is that I remember watching Hamed's stablemate Harold Graham fighting Julian Jackson and winning in this kind of fashion and completely outboxing his man and then getting knocked out with one punch in a sudden turnaround.
That's true, but the problem with Robinson is he didn't have the punch that Julian Jackson had.
Absolutely. He can apply pressure, he gets through. Robinson does get through for once. He landed 2 or 3 there. But is it the last rally of a proud champion? Hamed is absolutely lethal with those uppercuts.
Yes, the thing that's really surprising me is inside, Hamed looks the stronger of the two.
Oh, there was a low blow there from Hamed. Robinson looks to be on unsteady legs to me now. He almost poked his gum shield out and it almost came out there as another punch flooded in.
Yes, he looks tired, hurt, getting punched around this ring, Robinson.
He's falling around the ring rather than moving around it to Robinson. This is brilliant stuff, really, from Naseem Hamed. He really may be the big, big star that he keeps telling us that he's going to be.
Robinson has a champion's heart, but is it really going to be enough?
He's beaten the likes of Paul Hodkinson and Colin McMillan and Duke McKenzie. He's really marked up and there's blood around the face of poor Steve Robinson now. Hamed finds more angles. Referee Wiso Fernandez took quite a close look at him for a moment then.
This has been another tremendous round for Hamed.
He's been breathtaking so far. Breathtaking.
Four. Harder. Hitting. Boxing. Get the sun. So remember,
Don't worry, he's really friendly. Unless he hears a high-pitched noise.
Tetley's. Take the rough with the smooth.
Welcome back to Cardiff, where we are watching a brilliant performance. There is Naseem Hamed's dad, Sol, who runs the corner shop in Sheffield. There are all his friends and fans, and I tell you what, this Welsh contingent of fans have been absolutely silenced by what they're watching here. 7th round. And Naseem Hamed is a mile ahead. He must be a mile ahead. He'd have had to score the 5th round 10-8, 2-point margin with the knockdown. Absolutely no sign so far of Robinson being able to exert any kind of pressure or find a way back into the contest.
No, he's really just taking a slow, steady barrage of punches from Hamed. Still looks very confident, very classy, just still making a miss. Robinson trying to get in close, but still couldn't land a decent punch.
Remember, Robinson has defended this title 7 times before, and here, this young man, to be honest with you, so far, he's just been playing with it.
Yes, and during that little moment there, Hamed was looking at his corner, chatting to Brendan Ingle.
Robinson, there have been times when you wondered whether he'd get this far.
Calls him in, but really what can Robinson do? Every time he reaches out to throw a shot, Hamed is out of the way, but still raining blows on Robinson.
Hamed's 4 previous wins this year came in a total of 10 rounds. Even up at featherweight, he looks a real force. Robinson still trying to nail him and still hitting thin air. He really is a master in the art of hitting and not getting hit, Hamed.
Yes, the reflexes are terrific, but it's notable how strong he looks inside as well. He's able to push Robinson about. Watch, they're in close, he pushes him away.
Those eyes are closing of Robinson's. Hamed looks as fresh as a daisy. Robinson looks quite beaten up. They'll exchange words at the end of the round, or very serious glances anyway. There's Brendan Ingle, his mentor, in the Hamed corner. Well, he calls him the Naz fella, and holds him in great esteem. This young man who says he's going to win World Championships at 4 different weights, that he's going to be a legend.
Yes, some of the showboating from Naz, dancing around, talking to Brendan Ingle in the corner, and then still manages to land punches. And a little bit of the work from Robinson. He's trying desperately, but you see the evasive work, still with a smile on his face, makes Robinson miss. What can he do?
Round 8. So far, Robinson hasn't won a round, I don't think, anyway. Agree, Glenn?
Yes, I thought the first round was probably an even round. After that, it's been Hamed all the way.
So far, the young star from Sheffield is skating away with it on this rainy night in Cardiff. For once, it was Hamed who was made to miss. Your heart goes out, really, to Robinson. This is a proud warrior who's having a pretty demoralising, even embarrassing experience in there at the moment, but I think Hamed would do this to a lot of pretty good fighters, don't you?
I'm sure he would. Robinson is a very good fighter, beat a lot of good men. You know, he's good in lots of ways, very strong, but he can't do anything with Hamed. He tries to bring Hamed to him, he gets caught, he tries to rush at Hamed, and he walks on the punches.
Surely it can only be a matter of time before Naseem Hamed is unleashed on the American public. There are already stirrings of interest in him over there. Just slowed up a little bit in the last couple of rounds, maybe. And that's just a slip. Now he slipped, and I think the referee stopped it. He stopped the fight as he slipped in the corner, and Prince Naseem Hamed is now king. The coronation of the young star. Prince Naseem Hamed wins his first World Championship. He hugged Steve Robinson, and that was really a brilliant display.
Yes, a very abrupt finish, but it was a good left hook.
Great. You were brilliant. You were strong, man. He tried hooking really hard.
Steve, you deserve everybody's recognition. Yes.
There are some nice words there exchanged between the two of them afterwards, and that was nice to see. But poor Steve Robinson. It was a fight really that, to be fair to the camp, they didn't want this soon, and they felt they weren't getting enough money for it either. That's a row that's still going on. In his first fight at featherweight, you have to say that Naseem Hamed has absolutely proved that he was a worthy #1 contender, however controversial it might have been to put him straight in.
That's right, and he's just walking forward at Robinson, just a fast little left hook. You see the legs go all a bit. It's not a slip. He just loses his legs completely. A very quick left hook. He was just posing around, wasn't doing a lot. Just took Robinson to the corner. Very fast left hook, and his legs just give way completely.
Yeah, there is a wet patch as well in that corner. We saw that in one of the earlier fights. I wondered if he'd lost his footing a bit too.
Yes, it looked a bit like that, but his legs went so violently away from him, didn't they?
Yeah. It was a sort of delayed action fall. And there we are. Now that's good to see, because it might just cool the tempers of any hotheads who may want to react to this. But Naseem Hamed's victory was so utterly complete that there can be no argument at all about that. That was a stupendous display from him. Again, we still don't know what he's like under pressure, but that's because he's so very, very fast and elusive and good that nobody can put him under pressure.
That's right.
Anyway.
He's so very, very quick. Robinson was trying very hard to nail him down, to get to him, but Hamed was just out of the way. He just ducks and slips, and then he turns out of the way, and then he comes back with punches to hurt somebody. So a very, very difficult opponent he's going to be to beat.
Well, he wants to, I know, go back down to super bantamweight and win a world championship at that weight. And one of the champions is Marco Antonio Barrera, who's called the baby-faced assassin. And that would be an absolutely brilliant fight if they could ever get that together between those two, because he, too, apparently is some talent. But for the moment, let's not take it away from Prince Naseem Hamed. He's as good as all the boasts. He's a world champion, and he deserves it.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 1 minute 40 seconds of the 8th round, the referee has called a halt to the action in favour of the new WBO featherweight champion of the world, Prince Naseem Hamed.
Subdued applause, it has to be said, and maybe even grudging applause from the more partisan of the Robinson followers. But anyone with an ounce of sportsmanship in them, I think, will know that they were in the presence of a very special talent here. I think there may be other world championship wins down the road for this 21-year-old.
Yes, I thought this was going to be too big of a test. I thought the jump up in weight, I thought Robinson had been a good, solid champion. This was going to be a very tough fight for Hamed, but he boxed fantastically. He did everything right. He didn't allow Robinson to get in the fight, and a tremendous performance.
His dad holding up the belt in the ring, and Prince Naseem Hamed, the young man who was spotted as an urchin fighting in the street and then dragged off to the St. Thomas Club as a boy, has now realised his dream of becoming a world champion. He's been with Brendan Ingle for 14 years. An Irishman who runs his gyms, as one of the writers said the other day, like a home for waifs and strays. And he's done for the gym what Harold Graham, who I think was one of the best British boxers never to win a world title, couldn't do. He's got a belt around his shoulders as it is now. He's the WBO featherweight champion, and he did it in the most brilliant and emphatic fashion. We'll try to grab a word with him in just a moment. He's never short of a few words. It might be more than one, I think, but let's say that he's entitled to his night. There's been no histrionics from him either. I think he's been sensible here. He's not tried to goad the crowd at all.
Yes, I think that is very sporting of him. It's been a very good win for him, and he hasn't, you know, he's accepted it well. He hasn't shown off too much, or, you know, it's been a tremendous performance.
What now for Robinson, Glenn?
I'm not sure. It's been a tough career. He's done tremendously well, been a very, very good champion, beat a lot of good contenders, and it's been an honourable title hold. Where he can go from now, where he wants to go from now, it's really up to Steve Robinson.
He's only 26. There may be other domestic titles for him to chase again, and maybe he can plan another world title campaign. But the champion now is Prince Naseem Hamed. Make that King Naseem Hamed, I guess. He's with Gary Norman.
Naz, I have to say, I've never seen anything quite like that in my life.
No, as you know, I'm not making a big song and dance about it again. You've seen it for yourself now. I'm world champion, the belt's there. The viewers know he's the best. Now, he said he was too strong. Everything his trainers and his manager says. What happened? I was too strong, too fast, and too good, and I'm world champ.
But give him some credit. I mean, a lot of guys would have wilted way before then.
I'll give him so much credit because he was so strong. I was hitting him with everything. I predicted round 4. I mean, end of the day, he was very strong. I couldn't do it in round 4. Full credit to Steve. He was very strong. He took best shots of mine. But you know, I was world champion, don't you, Gary?
You said you would, and you are. Now, there was a lot of animosity between you two leading up to this. What did you say afterwards? It looked quite sensitive. It looked quite caring.
Yeah, I said to him, you was a great champion. You was so strong, Steve. I've never punched anybody so hard and them not gone down before that. I was just amazed with his chin. Basically, he was a really good fighter. Full credit to Steve. He's been a great champion, and I'm not surprised the way he beat Duke McKenzie and Colin McMillan, Hodgkins and all them, because he was a great fighter. But as you know, tonight's the 30th, and I've become king. I'm not changing my name to king yet. I remain the prince.
Now, tell me about the fight. You were hitting him at will. Did he catch you at all? I mean, just tell me how it went.
Well, you can see my face, and you can see his. But he caught me with some good shots. I kept up, caught me with some cracking left hooks, some cracking right hooks. But I'm just too good. I proved it on the night. I proved what I was going to say from the age of 11, 18, when I first started as a professional. I was going to be world champion. I'm world champion today. Frank Warren's my promoter. Brendan Ingle's my manager. They've done the business for me. I've got in and produced the goods every time.
Let's have a word for Brendan, because he's had you for a long time and he's made you what you are. I mean, give him some credit.
No, I'm saying
Great
nothing.
credit.
He done the job. Marvellous. And Frank Warren, fair play to him in Sky. I'm over the moon for him. He done the job, and fair play to Steve Robinson. Fought like a champion, plenty of heart, and he took some good shots on the chin and he come back. Over the moon.
Do you think you can fight any better than that? I mean, that is an extraordinary display.
Obviously, I'll get better. As you know, my punching power now, you know it's still extraordinary. And Steve took some great shots. You see what put him down at the end? It was one clean shot. That's what I said. If I catch a man clean, I will take it.
Well, Frank Warren's alongside me. Frank, I mean, what can you do with this guy? He's just too good.
As I've said, I think he's exceptional. I mean, Nigel Benz has been our best world champion, and he's coming up on his heels. This boy's got the ability to win all the titles, unified titles, and at different weights. He's a tremendous prospect.
Despite the hostility at the start...
not a tremendous prospect, he's a tremendous champion.
Despite the hostility at the start, I think he's even won the crowd over.
Well, what can you do? They see it, you know, the people watch him, they see what he's got. He amazes me. I've never seen a fighter like it. The preparation for a fight is so unorthodox, and when he gets into the ring, that was like watching Muhammad Ali against Cleveland Williams, but Steve Robinson wasn't a shot fighter. Cleveland Williams was. The repertoire of punches, the way he was moving, it was unbelievable.
And what could we see next?
Another title fight, obviously, and we may be looking at another weight. We're not sure yet, but we're going to sit down, think about it, and he'll fight before the end of the year. But I would like to say full credit to Steve Robinson, who's been the best featherweight in the world, and he got beaten by a tremendous fighter who I think is going to become a legend in boxing. Britain's going to have a legend.
I echo that. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely on course for legendary status, now a world champion. The thoughts of Duke McKenzie and Barry McGuigan in just a moment, and there'll be lots more from ringside as well.
If you ever needed any confirmation that Sky Sports is the home of golf, I think we gave you it this weekend.
We promised complete live coverage and...
They're starting to drift away from the Cardiff Arms Park, and the vast majority of the people who've been with us here tonight are going home extremely despondent. That's because their man Steve Robinson has been dismantled. His WBO World's Featherweight crown has fallen from his shoulders, and it's now resting in the possession of the young prince Naseem Hamed, who was given a display of extraordinary quality where he's fully justified the hype and the boasting, and he's on the verge of what, Barry McGuigan?
Well, superstardom. There's no question about it. He's young, he's superbly talented, his speed and balance is absolutely extraordinary, and his ability to sort of figure out what a guy's got and figure out his Achilles heel is quite incredible. And on this occasion, there's Hamed taking the applause. And as I say, he's a tremendous ability to find out what his opponent's Achilles heel is. And on this occasion, he pot-shotted away at Robinson all the way through the fight, but then he found out where his weak spot was.
We'll look at some of the key moments in just a moment or two, Barry. Duke, your overall impression?
Very impressed. The way he just destroys Steve Robinson is, you know, just echoing what Barry said. What really done it for me was the way he was hitting him to the body. You could see Steve Robinson shudder every time Naseem just planted his feet and let rip. But what was so unnerving for Steve Robinson, the fact that he couldn't hit the guy. I mean, he was trying, you know, not for the want of trying, but Naz was just so elusive. Wrong again. I get a habit, I do make a habit of picking the wrong one, but I was very impressed with the guy. He was chilling.
Was he a potentially great fighter to you tonight?
Is it? For sure. Like, you know, Barry just said, the guy is young, and that is another frightening point, you know, when you're 21 and you've got that kind of confidence, and you can obviously fight the way he does, it's, you know, he's quite chilling. It was quite devastating.
Barry, there was a suggestion that if Robinson could get through the first 4 rounds or so, the balance of the fight might start to tilt.
Well, I made that.
Direction.
There was always going to be the worry that he would absorb a steady beating in those early rounds, and that if he could apply constant pressure, that was the one point that I made. But he wasn't able to do that, because every time he took a step forward, Robinson nailed, or Hamed nailed him. And this is really where he started to hurt him and hit him with real solid punches. But it's the body shots that he really hurt him. That's the final knockdown, and his legs went completely. And that was the final left knockdown, left to the head. And this is the body shot just a few seconds before. That's really sucked all the energy out of him. That really hurt him. He'd hit him around the head and really not taken much effect on him. But it was the body shot that really hurt him. And then these couple of combinations to the head were really the ones that just sort of toppled him over. But it was the body shot that sucked all the energy out of him. And here again, this is the 5th round again from a different angle. Watch how accurate he is. Look, he's got very little position to get through here, but he gets him through every single with awesome power. You know, he does everything wrong. Look where his chin is, way up in the air, but he puts those punches through like with pinpoint precision. Incredibly difficult guy to fight, and so dangerous. Look at that again. Again, just slotting him right through the guard there, like a bullet.
What happened to the suggestion that Hamed going up to fight a big featherweight like Robinson would make that difficult from a straightforward power strength point of view?
He's just made a total mockery of the, you know, the scenario about, you know, a good big one will always beat a good little one, you know, because Hamed said it himself there. He was physically stronger than Robinson. I mean, you could see on the inside who was the boss, and he just bossed him from the start to the end.
But I think